Hello, I'm Adam Culy. I am the manager of the Central Ohio Ag team, and with me is Steve Dlugosz, our agronomist with Harvest Land. And today we're here going to talk about giant ragweed. Seems like in our area we are having larger issues with control of giant ragweed.
Yeah, giant ragweed has actually been around a long time. Most farmers will talk about it 30, 40 years ago as being probably their number one weed. When Roundup systems first came in, we seemed to do a pretty decent job on it. But as time has gone on, it's become more and more difficult to control. And so there are guys, I know specifically in your area, just right across the state line there in Western Ohio, can be a real challenge. And there's a number of different factors for that.
So do you hear anybody talk about, seems like it has multiple germination times?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting you point that out. University of Illinois actually several years ago did a study that conclusively shows that giant ragweed germinates much later into the growing season than what it previously did 30, 40 years ago. So with that fact being real, early season control right after planting with a good pre-emergence program, it's not uncommon for that program to kind of peter out towards the end and see another flush of giant rag. And I think for a lot of guys, that's what's happening. They're having a longer germination period.
So if we're seeing the pre-emergence kind of get weak as the season goes on, what's your recommendation?
Well, a couple things is, one is if when you come back for the post program, you can add a residual, and we're doing that for other species as well, particularly water hemp. So if water hemp's in the field, that's already locked as that kind of program, and that actually helps giant ragweed a lot. The other one is some of the guys that are struggling are going back to a planned two-pass program, where they pretty much control them at a minimal level to begin with, and then throw everything they got at it early into the emergence period of the corn. And that one seems to be a pretty good program that'll carry season long.
So what type of costs would be associated with a program like that?
Well, unfortunately, weed control as a whole, the costs are not going down. And that's an unfortunate thing about the situation we're in economic-wise, is the weeds are getting more and more difficult to control, particularly due to resistance for extended flush periods like this. So the programs are going to be more expensive. The idea of controlling ragweed season long with a cheap Roundup program, those days are pretty much over for most everybody right now.
So do you have any recommendations for like seed traits, things like that to help control?
Yeah, there's some different programs. Again, there's no silver bullet for any of these. What I think farmer has to do is see what fits his management program the best. That's where I always invite everyone in to come in, talk to you guys, because you know the situation locally. But yes, there are some trait programs. There's some levels of layering in the herbicide. We can do a much better job controlling giant ragweed. But like most of these difficult control weeds, there has to be a program. I think the days of just reacting to a weed because we see it and then wondering what we should do, those days usually end up in pretty much failure. So we have to kind of know what we're getting ourselves into ahead of time.
Do you have any other recommendations for us when it comes to giant ragweed?
Yeah, just come in and see us. You guys got a good team over there in that part of Ohio, and I just say come in and we'll just talk it over and see what we can design for you.
Okay. I recommend that anybody who's having problems with giant ragweed, feel free to stop by any of the Harvest Land locations and speak with your local agronomist or yield pro specialist.